This is Kobe with the Phoenix Hip Hop Podcast, and I have with me 90sitcom, which consists of Vaughn and Angelo. How are you doing today?
Good. How you
Pretty
doing?
good, pretty good.
So thanks for coming up. We won't reference this throughout the interview consistently, but this is our second. This is what do they say? Second time's third time's a charm. But it's our second time doing the interview. First time around, we had some technical difficulties, and also the microphone broke at the moment. So or at that time, and I was holding the mic halfway through the interview.
Oh
which is
yeah,
very
I
uncomfortable.
forgot about that. Yeah.
So I'm almost glad we have a little redo here. So how have you guys been?
I've been pretty good, pretty good,
Good.
man.
How you been?
Good. So you just released an album, right?
Yes, sir.
Hotline,
Hotline 90.
Hotline 90.
Yes, sir.
And how's that been going?
It's been going well. A lot of our homies hit us up. We got a post on Sleeping on Gems, so that was cool.
Big placement, yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. It's been doing cool.
So for those not familiar with you guys yet, I would say you're a little different than a lot of the hip hop I encounter in the community in the sense like, and I know artists typically don't like people to put labels or descriptions, but we're limited to words, right? So, like the words that come to mind are like an R&B hip hop fusion sort of.
I like it.
Yeah.
How do you guys like if you're sitting on an airplane next to a stranger for 4 hours and like, what do you do? I'm an accountant. What do you do? I do music. Oh yeah, what kind of music? How do you describe it?
I don't know. I guess like a R&B hip hop fusion is that's a good description. I feel like that kind of defines us.
Yeah.
That's like it leans into our influences. So I don't know. I don't even know how to describe our stuff sometimes.
I definitely say like oh, I make music that's just more laid back. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like what you get with me in person is kind of what you're gonna get in the music most times.
It's almost like everyday music.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that description. And then, I wasn't gonna keep saying last time we talked, but last time we talked, I told you guys I was like, this is like music that's made by people in their early 30s, and that was at the time we're like, yeah, we're pretty much like around that age,
Yeah.
and so I can hear like the maturity in it. But it's like, as someone, a little bit older than you guys, it's like, I almost see like, okay, this is not young person just out of high school. I'm so energetic. I don't know where to channel this energy. But it's not like, yeah, I'm ready to start, taking, what do they call it, cholesterol medication and get my first prostate exam. It's not there yet. It's like in between,
I
right?
like it. I
Yeah,
like
it.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely in between. I like that.
Not quite at a prostate exam.
I was first put onto you guys by Autumn Leaf. Shout out Autumn Leaf.
Shout out.
And it's interesting because she mentioned you guys and then DBZ Baby.
Shout out Beezy.
Yeah, shout out.
And then another guy is really dope, but I always forget his name. It's something Red.
Red Eye.
Oh, Nebula Red Eye.
Nebula Red Eye.
Shout out Red Eye.
And then there's Low Keys. And
Shout out Keys.
when I think about those artists that she mentioned, it's almost like this little, I can't think of the right word, but it's not like a collective, but it's just this little pocket of sort of music that y'all kind of, work together.
Yeah.
Was that just kind of organic and just kind of randomly happens because you know these folks, or was there any sort of intention behind kind of being in that sort of, I know it's not a formal collective, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty much like organic, really. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
we were really cool with Beezy, so
Yeah.
he put us on to all of them, and then, I mean, we all just meshed really well. Like
Yeah.
that's a team, really. So like,
Yeah.
it's a good time, even if we're just doing nothing. It's cool. Like, really, like friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We know Beezy since high school.
Yeah.
So we go way back, and then he introduced us to Keys, and then we just started linking up more regularly, and then the rest is history, pretty much.
yeah, and honestly, I like to refer to Beezy like he was like our mentor.
Okay.
When we first started making music and stuff, and like,
So,
it's like, it's just like he like had this confidence when he did his music, and that's something that I really liked. And I would come to him and be like, because he used to rap with Vaughn back in the day, and and I would come to him and be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think? He'll give me real feedback, like, because everybody would be like, oh, you rap, it's cool, like, you're a rapper, we're in high school. But he'd come and be like, it sounds like you're reading it. He's like, make me believe that you're actually saying it. And like shit like that stuck with me. And just seeing him now, it's like it's crazy. It's like hey man, like I'm catching up.
BZ's funny too. It's like the first time I met him was kind of just like that, like just randomly spitting a freestyle for whatever reason at school. They had this microphone on the senior line, and I spit this freestyle, and everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty tight." And then he comes up to me, he's like, "Yeah, that was tight, but I can do better." So I was like, "Oh, "Thanks." But yeah, that's BZ.
Yeah.
How was it like creating music in high school? Because like I saw the artist Honey Rose, and then there's this other artist named Gorgeous Hefe. They actually had a class together in high school. They didn't know that they made music. Then they ended up being on the same show, right? What was your guys' experience? Was it something, I mean, you're freestyling, so it doesn't sound like the case, but was it something you kind of kept to yourself, or were you very open with it?
For me, I was very open with it. I used to upload videos to like YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
And they would do all right. They would do cool, but I dropped this freestyle senior year, and that one like went around the school. That was like when it blew up. Everybody's like, "Oh, this motherfucker's tight," and I had a little clout for a little bit off of it, and I was like, "It's kind of tight. I could do this."
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't making videos, but I had like a few freestyles here and there, and then BZ, we had some songs together, and him being like the personality that he is, it just went around the school, and so I couldn't
sense.
hide if I wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, so you have DBZ Baby, are there any other artists that you went to high school with that kind of continued on with music?
Jaslyn, that's more their year.
Yeah, Jaslyn. Shout out to Jaslyn, amazing singer.
Shout out to Jaslyn.
I knew her sister in high school, and I didn't know she made music until after high school. Actually, Diego plugged us with her.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I feel like she was writing back then. I never really heard anything from her before, but it's probably like the only person I can think of aside from BZ.
Yeah. A lot of people started in style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like more common than not, right? Kind of dabbling in something, and then
Oh yeah.
you get in your 20s, you're like, all right, I'm just going to do it,
Yeah, because everybody's figuring out who they are. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So
On your new album, I like the local reference. Like at first when I was listening to it the first time around, I heard like a Canes reference, and I was like,
Shout out
wait,
Canes.
is that are you talking about Raising Canes? And kind of what you said earlier, it's like, how would you say, it's like music for every day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
like
everyday music.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're going to Canes.
So that's a great example, because I was talking to someone else in a different interview, and I was like asking about his first song. He's like actually my first song was about working in a call center. He's like, some people thought, I thought some people might think this is corny, but I just wanted to rap about what I'm doing and stuff like that. And so
That's fire.
that kind of stuff makes a lot of sense to me, because a lot of music is very like aspirational. People say like, artists will say like, this conversations that you're seeing is like, there's a difference between being like fake and talking about something you haven't done versus trying to manifest something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then there's the other whole, kind of thing where it's like, or just talk about like the day to day. And I feel like it resonates more, I guess, for me personally.
Yeah, I feel like it's easy to talk about stuff that's interesting or cool or fun.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a challenge to talk about regular everyday stuff and make it sound cool.
Yeah.
And that song is a perfect example, because the chorus it's a song about us deciding, hey, when, like, you guys trying to eat? Okay, where we going? Okay, cool. Whose car we taking? Like, it's like, let's ride. Who whip? Oh, word in mine? Bet that up. Southside, Mesa, Kings.
Yeah.
Stay with us. But, like, it's like, it sounds so cool. It's just a conversation everybody's had. Like, all right, what we trying to eat? That conversation takes 15, 20 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And then who wants to drive? So, nobody wants to drive all the time. And it's like, it's just, like, it's so fun for me to do that, to try to find something that's just so regular and try to make it sound cool.
Yeah.
And you, like you say, is he talking about Canes?
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool. It's a cool reaction. So.
Well, and it's almost too, like, to me, it's interesting because I think especially for younger people that are still learning about life and who they are, like, they might hear something and then almost feel like, man, this person's talking about this. I'm only in this position, and you know, like I have to catch up, or you know, I'm lesser than. But it's when artists create music like you, like y'all. It's almost like a reminder, like, hey, what you see on like social media, what you see on TV, what you listen to. I mean, yeah, sure, some of it's real, but a lot of it's not. It's embellished, and even you know, pick your you know the famous artist Drake or whatever. They all you know have to take a shit. They all have to you know do the day to day stuff, and it's just kind of like a good reminder that now we're all just you know regular human beings, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Appreciate that. Cause yeah, that's. I mean, I feel like for us, it's all about trying to just be authentic, and it's easier that way rather than like having a fabricated story every time you get on the microphone and say that.
Yeah, just wake up, same person, go to bed, same person. Yeah.
So you guys met in high school, right? Is that what
Yeah, we met in
Yeah.
high school once. And,
Okay.
Yeah, once.
Wait,
Just-
okay, so you weren't very close when you were in high school.
No, but when we did meet, it was cool. We met through mutual friends, and I remember, like I always tell the story. Everything I said, Vaughn laughed at, and I was like, I like this guy. Like he makes me feel funny as fuck. Like he's laughing at everything, every time. And so, you know, I think I exchanged numbers with him at the time. Maybe, really don't remember how I got his number. But we officially started making music and like linking up in college. We were both at MCC, and one of our friends was like, he was making beats for me, and I was making you know music with him, and we made a song. One of our first songs called Bounce, and it's like just this terrible song, just like, and I'm the chorus, I'm all three verses, and we're sitting there listening, and I'm like, nobody wants to hear me for a whole mixtape. At least not this level. Like I'm not there yet, you know. And I'm like, it's just like we gotta call somebody else. So I go through my contacts and I see Vaughn, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna hit up Vaughn. He comes through and he spits a verse that's just like way better than anything I've ever done. Shits on everything I've ever done. I'm like, this guy gotta stay. I was like, this is dope. Brought extra energy to it, and then we just continued. He just kept coming back, and then we're like, we should just do this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of just happened. Didn't even like plan on being a group or anything. It just fell into place like that.
Cause shit be lonely.
Yeah. I was
Shit
just
be
making
lonely.
music by myself before that too, so it's like it was cool to have somebody else to bounce ideas off of, and I feel like that really helped me grow as an artist too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout your, I mean, this question is for both of you, but what you said kind of made me think of this question. At the time you were making that that mixtape or whatever, you're like, I'm not there yet as far as you know me kind of carrying this whole thing. A lot of times it seems like artists have, I mean, I think it's just a human thing. We're kind of biased, like thinking something we do as we progress, like, oh, this is really great. And then other artists are more like, no, like I know in my head what I want this to sound like, and I'm not there yet. How has that been for you? Like, do you look back at some of your music and think like, I used to really think this was dope, but like at the time I just didn't know what I was doing? Or was it very clear to you during your progression, like, okay, like I'm not, you know, I'm kind of evolving, but I'm not where I want to be?
It's a mixture of both, but I definitely look back and think about all the times of how like linking up with Vaughn, like it's almost inevitable to compare yourself, you know, for competition wise and just like whatever. And at the time Vaughn was starting to open up and start singing too. And so now I'm like I need to catch up or I'm gonna get left behind. And we had a couple people who would say things like, well, Vaughn should just go solo. Like, you know, I'm holding the back, or he's way better than me. And like stuff like that, like I'm like, okay, I need to get better because I want to get better and I want to prove these people wrong.
Yeah.
You know, at the time. But I think it all boiled down to like, you know, I pride myself and, you know, us in having a really good ear. And so at the time, knowing I want this song to sound a certain way and I'm just not there yet and I need somebody else to help out, I think it's just about having that ear. Because you can get lost in confidence or, you know, and stuff like that, which is great. It's not a bad thing, but like, I feel like if you really want to progress, you got to humble yourself and be like, all right, I just can't do it right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's facts. I don't know. I think sometimes for me personally, I like didn't even kind of realize the progression until I look back on things. Like in the moment, I was just so in the moment, like thinking about like just trying to get better, trying new things like singing. Um, kind of got away from rapping for a second. It was like, all right, I want to like almost had to relearn how to rap in it, like in a sense. So it was, I don't know. It's cool looking back at things, even though some songs aren't as polished as I thought they were in the moment. But it's cool to see where I'm at now and
Yeah.
how I kind of got there.
Yeah, and also there's we always go back and there's moments. There's certain songs where we're like, it was almost like a foreshadow of what our potential, little glimpses of the future, where we're like, okay, to me that's a sign we're supposed to be here. Like,
Yeah.
there's just plenty of songs, moments where like, damn, that's shit still hits today. Like we could release it today and nobody will know. If they never heard it, they wouldn't know the difference. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's some songs where they should be deleted completely.
And you don't have to like say the song but like when it is a song where you look back, you're like, yeah, this should be deleted completely. Like what's an example of something that you just like you don't really like anymore? Is like the quality of the content, both? What is it?
I could say a song. There's a song that we made, and it's just for fun. And at the time it was nice, and now I go and it's on Apple and I play it. I'm like, I don't want to hear this shit no more. It's actually two of them. One of them, Say Less, and the
checks, but on the road to riches, all I get is break checks. I need to pop for my mini-me, so I'm working out all the details. Skill set on TDE, shoe game on Dream.
other one's, we used to work at Dairy Queen, and so it's called She Wants to DQ.
Need to make it out before I blow this bitch up.
Shawty lactose, so she gassing at the spot. Ice cream truck, Shawty been around the block.
And I played, I'm like, this is kind of irritating. I don't want to hear this shit.
Okay.
It's just like, I feel like the best word for me on She Wants to DQ is I was too rambunctious, too like, just too much, just doing the most. But it was fun making.
Yeah.
With him, because we both worked there, we both, it's just fun. Like, hey, listen to this, listen. Like, that was fun. So I will never regret making it, but I don't regret putting it out either. But if I could go and delete them, which I can, those would be the first two.
I want to.
I'll run it by him first, but yeah, I would look at those, and I feel like I don't think I ever like got out of character like content wise or anything, but it's just a little aggressive. Yeah, it's just a little aggressive. And Say Less the same. It's kind of a little aggressive. I don't know. I'm just more laid back. I don't really want to be too aggressive.
Aggressive, like lyrically, or like your actual flow delivery, how you rap?
Delivery, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, delivery.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a specific song. I'm sure there's something on SoundCloud that I'm like, damn, I don't really want. But at the same time, I mean, it kind of is what it is. And it's funny because I kind of learned that from him. Like back in the day, I used to be heavy on the let's just delete this shit.
Yes.
I used to be quick to be like, let me just delete these songs, and he'd be like, nah, just keep them. Like it's all good, just keep them. So
You just never know.
yeah, you just never know.
That's another chance.
And somebody else might hear it and be like, damn, like I actually kind of like it. So it's
Yeah, it's it. Like, I see that. So like, I'm really into like since I was a kid, I was into like just like wordplay and lyricism and punchlines and all that, right? And there's a lot of rappers that start out that way. There's this rapper I'm a fan of called Token, and like he's just like one of those lyrical miracle like crazy rhyme patterns, all that. As he progressed, though, he started making more like songs, right? And but like online, he'll shit on his old stuff.
This is the first time in my career, not my life, but like my career, where like I hear my music and I'm like, that's me.
And almost his fans get like mad, like, but I like this stuff. Like I want you to make this, and he's like, no. Like I'm paraphrasing, but it's more like get over it. Like I don't make that kind of music anymore.
yeah.
And to me, it's always interesting because some artists they'll look back and be like, that was trash, but it's like that's kind of how you accumulated your initial core fan base, and you're almost insulting their taste by saying it's trash. You know what I mean?
That's very true. And a good example is Tyler, the Creator. He literally had that same situation. So I'm not making that shit anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to hear old me, go listen to old me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like it feels like he shits on it too, and it's like that's a good point. I never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
Almost insulting their taste. Like, bro, this is what you came up on.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you have the opposite, like Eminem, which like I still like. I'm a fan of Eminem for his like technical abilities, but like
Okay. Yeah.
there's not a lot of songs that I like from Eminem, in recent years. But like a lot of it's the same, the same style. But he has that sort of, still fan base that loves that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll still ride for him no matter what.
That's
Yeah.
what it was. The 1,000 fans, right? I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
term. You get 1,000 fans.
Oh,
That's all
okay.
you need,
Yeah.
and you'll be set as an artist.
1,000 real fans.
1,000 real fans. They're gonna buy, show up, all that stuff. So
So if you were in that if you're in that position, would you still like let's say for example like the first album you made, you had that 1,000 fan base, and you're not really feeling that like style anymore, but you still have that loyal fan base. As an artist, how would you balance that? Like, would you still create something that you're really not feeling inspired to create, or would you just kind of expect them to move on, I guess, from following you, I guess?
that's a good question.
I think, I feel like Kanye did a good job of that. Like just going from college dropout to Vultures is just crazy. But Kanye it's almost like every album was a new era for Kanye. And I think for his fans, and like being a fan of Kanye during that, like, it's the way that he did it, he kind of just made it more seamless. Like most rappers, I feel like maybe back in the day in the 90s, it's like you almost had to recreate your first album. Like when Dre came back, it was like motherfuckers forgot about Dre. Like he had to do this all over again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But Kanye kind of changed that to where it's like, all right, well, I don't really like this sound anymore. I'm gonna go do 808s and Heartbreaks, and then I'm gonna come back and do my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. And it's like I don't know. I think it depends on the artist. It's like you don't necessarily want to shit on it, and I feel like if you have stuff like what Drake did, like releasing old footage that kind of like give them a behind the scenes look.
Yeah.
That's always a good way to, keep them engaged with the old stuff while still, moving on.
That's a good compromise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, there's this artist. He's like, he's kind of known. But have you ever heard of Duckworth?
Oh, Duckworth's tight. I
Yeah.
love Duckworth.
Yeah, I love Duckworth. I saw him. He was an artist where, like, have you ever been to a show and you're there for like a main act, but like the opening act, you're like, whoa, like I really like this. That was
They really want that. Run up on a nigga like damn with a gun set. I don't need a weapon, nigga sharper than a thumbtack. I can trigger mine, take it to me with a
that was my that was a situation with seeing Duckworth, and he kind of transitioned mostly into like R&B. He doesn't rap as much anymore, But like as a fan, I'm always like, man, like I wish he would just like include like 2 rap songs on a project. You know what I mean? But I also understand like it wouldn't even fit. So yeah, I've definitely seen that. And then you got you mentioned Kanye. It seems actually pretty common.
Yeah.
The more I think about it.
Yeah. Nowadays, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Duckworth though. He's tight.
Yeah.
I saw him live, and it was like that same exact experience. It was like, damn, this man is like really killing it right now.
He came out. Yeah, this show's like he sort of like the beat was playing, and then right when his verse started, like he just jumped in front of like you didn't know what was happening, and he was wearing some sort of like Scottish. It wasn't a skirt. What are those things called?
Oh, like
Kilt.
kill, yeah.
I'm talking about the cops with the guns, looking like they never have fun. Never ever will have fought us on one.
Kill.
Yeah, so I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's gonna stand out.
Yeah, he's
for sure.
dope. So I was looking at your music on the way here from my streaming app, and your first album was it EP? Was it 2020? Or
Was that 2020? I think 2021.
I was just trying to understand like
Newborn Baby.
there's it was Newborn Baby. There's definitely like a gap, I guess.
I think it's
between-
2020. Yeah.
Let's see.
Newborn baby. That was cool. That was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Oh no, 2021. So home videos 2020, at least according to this streaming platform.
Oh, okay.
Home videos 2020, Newborn Baby 2021, Hotline 90 2024. So you release back to back. Each year for 20 and then 2021, and then not till 2024 did you release a project. So like, was that we just have a lot of stuff going on? Was it like intentional? Like I need a break from this, or
We've been told that we hold our music hostage. So
okay,
it was I feel like it's a mixture of being like super locked in and just like kind of being inconsistent of being out and about and putting our brand out there essentially. Because home videos, I don't even count that, because those are just the fan favorites from SoundCloud.
Oh,
We
I
put a
see.
poll up and we kept asking everybody what songs you want, what songs,
Okay.
because they kept asking, and so we put it up for them. And then Newborn Baby was an EP that was fun, and then our first official album was Hotline 90, and we were excited to do that. But it was a little bit of intention as well, because we wanted to. We were working on our solo albums the whole time, and Hotline 90, and there's another album that we have, and so we got to a good position where we're like, okay, we could start rolling these out now, So
Yeah, we were kind of just in between, like working on projects
Yeah.
and thinking that we had certain things done, and then rethinking things, kind of just overthinking maybe a little bit, but at the same time, it kind of got us to where we're at. Like Hotline 90 would, if we would have put it out at the top of the year like we originally planned, it would have been a totally different album.
it wasn't Hotline 90,
Yeah.
It was a different album entirely with a different name. So
And so yeah, we're constantly like going back and forth with ourselves, and Diego's always fighting with us to just drop music.
yeah, which is fair. It's fair, and I think it's just a balance. Like we gotta find the proper balance, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's true. If we would have dropped the other album, it just wouldn't have hit the same.
Yeah.
And we hit that part where we were listening, we're like, it just don't feel right. We finished our own albums, and our own albums sound really great. This one don't just hit right. We can't release this, and I don't know. We just need to work on it. And then Hotline 90 came about, and it's like, damn, I'm glad we reconsidered this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really glad. Like, we took the time to really hone in and listen to it, and it's just having that ear. It's not there yet. How do we get it there? So,
Do you feel pressure to release? I mean, because they always say like you have to post and release like back to back or X amount of times like to maintain engagement. Is that? I mean, from a social media algorithm perspective, that's true. But like from a people that pay attention and continue to follow my stuff, that's debatable. What are your thoughts on that, I guess? And do you feel that pressure?
I think the pressure derives from I like to call it creative guilt. It's when you're doing regular stuff and you're like, I should be doing this. I should be making music. I should be releasing. I should be getting it ready. I should be doing whatever to be productive. But we got to remember, if we're going to be talking about everyday things, I got to live every day too to be able to talk about it. And so I do feel pressure, and I do feel bad for all the people who really enjoy our music and are fans of us as people and us as artists, and us not showing up all the time, to continue that, to grow that love and nurture, the fan base. So I think now we're in a better position to hold ourselves a little bit more accountable to deadlines and getting stuff done and being present online and stuff like that. So yeah, I do feel the pressure sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think the hardest thing maybe is not making the music, but the social media aspect of it, posting, and I don't know. I'm not the type to post a lot on social media, and so it's remembering to do that all the time is pretty hard, just to stay in people's faces. But I mean, it's a necessary, I guess, evil, and it's not that hard, honestly. It's just got to stay on top of it.
Yeah. Getting out there and performing. I saw you at an open mic, which I really I posted that clip. Dude, you killed it. That was a moment where someone's rapping and I'm watching. I'm like, oh, okay. It's because you went in just in my opinion, a cool little flow.
Read up on some private baby. I should be smoking in moderation, but my day-to-day come with complications, so I opt to face it when I'm starting tasting. That's high. I'm moonwalking on the constellation. I'm a moon when I walk into places and I'm smelling thank you. That's
Appreciate it.
How often do you all perform? And then what types of events do you find yourself performing at?
I think that's where the inconsistency comes in. There'll be pockets where we perform a lot, back to back to back all the time, and then we won't perform for a long time. But Diego finds all the venues and all the opportunities for us. We performed at the Nile, we performed at Club Red, we performed at Valley Bar. Valley Bar is really
I love Valley Bar.
Such a cool venue, such a fun one to do. And then others are just artists we know that are put on shows, locals only, stuff like that, or Get Free, all those opportunities as well. But I feel once if we get in a groove, we'll keep doing it. And then I think it's just, like I said, maintaining that groove.
Yeah.
And being okay, well, we need to start performing again. Okay, well, let's keep performing. And that's not slow down.
Yeah, and I think for me, like the open mics is like good opportunity to like stay sharp, and just to like test new things too, rather than like doing it at a show on our time. So
Yeah.
it's cool. And shout out to the Butterfly Effect band. They're tight.
Yeah, they're so awesome. Yeah, Shell, Lepre, and Honey Rose. Like, I've never. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but like, for me, it's only open mic I've gone to where they consistently have a band and actually try to like match the music and stuff like that. It's a really cool open mic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites that I've been to. I've been to a few with that kind of setup, but with them, it's a different type of vibe with them. Yeah.
Recently, you all did like what do you call it? You call it a creative camp, or is there another word used?
I like that.
Okay.
Creative camp.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. And so you booked an Airbnb for a weekend basically, or what?
We used our homie's
Oh, you
crib.
used your home?
Yeah,
Okay.
low key.
Shout out to Keys.
Okay. Look. Okay.
Thank you so much.
How was that?
It was fun.
amazing.
It was amazing. It was
Amazing.
a really tight experience. Like we wanted to kind of do our little version of like Revenge of the Dreamers, and so being that we only had limited space, we had like maybe 10 people that we invited, 10 or 12. And they all came through and locked in. Like it was crazy because before we did it, we were like, I think we'll be lucky if we get like 7 songs or something like that. But we got like damn near 20 songs. So
Wow.
Yeah, like a lot of songs. We had 2 rooms and everybody was just bouncing back and forth. And I think what was cool was it was a good balance of personalities, and nobody was stepping on each other's toes. It was very respectful, but at the same time very like Zeke. Like Zeke was a force in this. And the
Is it the artist name Zeke?
yeah,
Yeah.
Zeke, formerly known as
Jiggy, yeah.
Okay.
Zeke was a force, and because he has a lot of experience actually doing these type of camps, and he'd come in each room and be like, wake everybody up, what do you got? You guys are ready? Okay, show me what you got right now. I don't want you to wait till you're done. Show me what you got now. It's just so we can get the ball rolling, switch the beat, do this, do that. And he was very helpful when it came to it. And then that inspired everybody to be like, okay, I want to match that energy. And then the vibes are just high the whole time. And it was such a good time, so much fun. And I just want to keep doing them. It gave me a glimpse of like the lifestyle we can live. We don't got to clock in anymore. We could just do that all day. Because we were 12 to 12 every day, 12 to 12. And it was just like Vaughn and I would set the tone. We start the session, get there first, and just start making music right away. Write a verse, write a hook, whatever it is. So when people walk through the door, we're in the first studio, and they see us recording, they see us working. So it's like they already know what type of time it is, And it's just a good time.
It's cool seeing people come out of their shells too.
Yeah.
Like just getting surprised by like the talent of other people. Like even though I work with these people all the time, like for the most part, most of these people, but like seeing Beezy, like just really like go in, he was writing so much. I was like, God.
And it was quality. And I was telling Vaughn the other night, I was like, honestly, Beezy might be the MVP of the creative camp. Like we might have to give him that trophy because every verse we hear from him, all the songs, like, God damn, like, shit, maybe I should rewrite my verse. Like, God damn.
I love that. Like where it's like it's competitive, not in a negative way, but like in inspiring way, right?
Oh yeah, because that's that's like our brother. Like if he wins, we win. So like I would never be mad if he has a better verse than me or anything like that. Like so, it's all
just
love.
that competition.
Yeah.
Like we have like Honey was there. Honey was only there for one day, and she got so much done, and it's all like just super quality verses and things.
Yes.
One of the homies, Young Kooky, he came through. Like we didn't even know he did music before. Like he met him because we go to this place called Crackers.
Yeah, shout out to Crackers.
Yeah, shout out to
Crackers and Company. Not Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, not Cracker Barrel.
That's our go-to spot. Like if there were to be, aside from like the condo that we stay at, if there's ever a 90sitcom headquarters, it'd be Crackers.
Yeah.
So what type of business is Crackers?
Breakfast.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he works there, and so just over time we befriended him, and then one day I was like, let me get your IG, and then I found out he made music, he made beats, and then he's like, I gotta make beats, this and that. I was like, I make music too. We're about to drop an album. He's like, oh, bet, like send me the link when and blah blah all this stuff, and then so he shows up the first night. And he brings his laptop just to play beats for everybody. And he actually knows Zeke from back in the day. So, it was a good little connection. he's playing beats and we're rocking with it. And he's like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and actually work because he came late. He's like, about tomorrow I'm gonna lock in. And he came back, and Vaughn and I were, we were, locked in the first studio just doing something. So he came in, dapped him up, and he went to the other room, and they were they're cooking up something in there. And then we were doing takes, recording, and then, in between the takes, we hear, like, somebody just going off. And we're like,
going crazy.
oh, shit, is that Devontae? Like, bro, and then we get up and go in there, and oh, my gosh, this verse is crazy, unexpected. I knew he made music. I knew he rapped and stuff, but this...
Yeah, crazy verse.
Crazy
like one of the
verse.
best verses.
Yes, yeah.
That entire
And so it's like those moments, it's like that's what we live for the creative camp. And then we had another moment where we all just as a team created this song that we feel like would be the one, and it was just so much fun making it, and everybody's chiming in and like just really like raising the tempo every time and pushing each other, and just really grateful for everybody that showed up and just for the opportunity that we got to have and just all the love that was shared and the music that was created. So
yeah, that's awesome. So for that project, is that going to end up being like a large compilation album, or?
Yeah, it's really all was orchestrated and organized, and the idea was created by Diego, and it's called Back Home in 30. That's what it's going to be called. And right now we're just in the process of like, we set a deadline for everybody to stop submitting beats and stop submitting verses and stuff like that, giving people time to, because obviously it was so crammed in 3 days, we couldn't get everything done, and we all share a Google Drive where people could just pop in and be like, yeah, I just put this up there, what do you guys think? Stuff like that, set a deadline, and then we'll go from there and see exactly what we're gonna do. But the goal is to release a compilation project. So.
How does that work with like, because this is an area I have no sort of like experience in, and I know like the money you made from streaming is like almost like literally nothing. But do people get like, not weird, but like, hey, like how am I gonna be credited for this when it comes to like streaming numbers, or is it more just like, no, this is a for the love project and I just am happy to participate?
In terms of that, we really didn't discuss it with them. We've had experience of like sharing, doing splits is what they're called, with people and features and stuff like that. DistroKid has a really easy way to do it. You just put their name and their information, and it splits it accordingly, whatever you think the percentage should be. And that's a good question, and I think that's something that we need to propose within the collective and see what everybody's feeling and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thankfully for us, we haven't had too many issues with that with like any other collaborations that we had. So usually it's like 50-50 for the most part.
Yeah.
There was another artist I was talking to, not gonna say their names, but he was, because we were basically we were having a phone conversation, and we were just talking about like how being friends and then business, like it gets, can get weird, and onto like uploading the song, and he's like, hey, we didn't talk about the split or whatever, and I guess like and I'm not saying anything is right or wrong, I'm just kind of sharing the experience, but like because he paid for the studio time and just because of kind of how he's done some things for the artist, like he offered like a 25%, and then the guy was like upset about it or something. Like, I'm just curious, in your experience, have you encountered situations like that, or like is it more so the people you work with, they're just not, I guess, difficult, or?
The people that we worked with, not difficult. I mean, most of them are our friends, and I honestly didn't even look at the splits for some of them, what we got, to be honest. But like, I think it's all about, I think for me, the best way to do it is just effective communication, and just like, if you feel it, say it. Don't hold it in, and then, for a situation like that, there's obviously a bunch of variables I don't know about the situation, but just hearing it, I'm like, he probably should have voiced like, hey, I'm doing these things, so I feel like, I feel like I'm gonna get most of the credit for the song, or whatever the case may be. I think it's just communicating what you feel, because then you end up in a sticky situation like that, and it's like you have this resentment now, and it's like, it just sucks, because like most of the people we work with are cool as fuck. End up being our friends, or are already our friends. So I think it's just being open and just having trust, and
That makes sense. Production wise, I know you guys like work, often with Low Keys, for the Hotline album, Hotline 90s. It's Hotline 90s, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Hotline 90s. Who did the production on it?
That one is bunch of YouTube beats.
YouTube University.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just had to get in where we fit in. I mean, we got producers. I produce, but I think I know some people feel a way about YouTube type beats, but I think me being a producer too, I think I have a capacity to like create a certain type of beat, and I can, make things that I like. But it's cool hearing somebody else's vision. Like there will be people who will do things I would never think to do, and so that's why it's nice to tap in on YouTube, check out some beats.
Yeah, it's all YouTube.
I think it's interesting the way people will think of YouTube, because like even some of the best, well-regarded producers, like are you guys familiar with Madlib?
Oh
Yeah. Like if you listen to some of Madlib's loops, like if you didn't know it was Madlib, like okay, like this is kind of simple sounding, you know what I mean? But so like to your point, I think it's just like it's almost like a I don't know what the right term is, but it's it doesn't matter that it's a YouTube, like the beat is the beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think what's cool for me, more so like for my individual album, it was a cool challenge to find all these beats from different people around the world at different times and put them all together. Like we don't got somebody in production making it, catering to the sound. It's just like kind of you developing that as you go on. And I think it was a fun challenge doing it that way. And Hotline 90 was great. Good representation of that. But what I'm really grateful for the creative camp is the rule was, no YouTube beats. Like we have 4 or 5 producers in house, so that's all we're using, and that was really fun. Like that was just really cool. Like we ain't gotta go, all right, what kind of beat we feeling today? It's like no, we already got like 100 beats in the file. Just start playing them, and that's fun because it's all in house. Like hey, can you extend this? Hey, I don't like this part, or can you blah blah blah? Yep, done instantly, and that's fun.
When you hear for y'all, like on average, when you hear a beat, is it like in the first 3, like well, obviously you have to hear enough of it, but like after you've heard as much as you need to, are you immediately like, yep, this is for me? Or are there some times where it's like you don't know if it's for you, but you want to challenge yourself? Like how does that look for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like that sometimes. There are some beats where you just hear it and it's like instantly, like instantaneous. It's like I got words, I got lyrics already.
Pouring out.
Yeah, and then there are some where it's like I like this beat, I just don't know where I'm gonna take it yet. And those are the kind of the challenging ones. And then there are just the ones where you're like, I don't really like this. After you hear it for 5 minutes, you're like, I'll turn it off. But I kind of like the challenge sometimes. Like getting out of my head and just letting myself go where I'm gonna go creatively, and so I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixture of both. I've had beats where I sat on forever, for like years, and then come back and like, oh, okay, I got it. And then there's some, like he said, instant. You just start saying words, start saying flow. Like I like this shit right with the first second plays. Sometimes when I'm on YouTube looking for beats for both of us, when we used to do that a lot, he'd make fun of me because I'll hear the first second, next. Like I know what I want, and sometimes like I'm a little too eager to press the button.
Chord style.
Yeah,
Like, damn.
he's like, damn, and he, him as a producer, he's like, damn, that's fucked up, But yeah, it's fun. It's fun distinguishing what you like, because they're both rewarding in their own sense. If it comes out naturally, quickly, that's a reward. And if you sit on it for so long and you can't attack it, and then finally you attack it, obviously that's a feat in its own. So yeah, that's really cool. And I think what's great about working with him is when I can't attack a beat for so long, and like we know this beat is so dope, and we have to have it. We have to do something to it. He'll shoot over a verse one day, and then I'm like, that's all I need to hear. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, bet. I'm in.
Dude, yeah.
Love that.
That's crazy. Yeah. So like I'm working on this project where I book a studio session. It's like a collaboration project with another podcast called Valley of the Beats, and we book a studio session, invite people to do stuff on it. But for one of the sessions, I started all these group chats just to be more organized. And there's a beat, so it's like three artist rappers, and 2 of them like this beat, and then another one was like, he had no idea what to do on it. So we get into a studio session, and he's like, I couldn't come up with anything for this beat. But then the other guy gets in the booth, and like he does it. He's like, okay, now I know exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that before, but what you described is very similar.
Yeah, we do that a lot, and it's fun. It's like, you know what? I don't gotta get it right now. If I might get it, I'll be all right. We'll be okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. like we even have I have a song with Beezy that was kind of like that. What is that song called? I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But I was just sitting on it. I didn't finish it. I sent it to Angelo. He was kind of like, I was kind of like, and then Beezy heard it and made a whole song out of it. So it's crazy how that works sometimes.
Yeah. Get a new love for it.
Lyrically, we talked about how you have some local references and stuff like that. There's a lyric that I heard on the way here, and I was like, man, that's like such a Arizona lyric, and it was I'm hoping that the winter never ends. Because like if you're in like Minnesota or like Wisconsin or whatever, no one would say that, right?
That's five.
But that's like such an Arizona line, hoping the winter never ends.
Yes, and it always ends way quicker, and it's just ridiculous.
What are some of, not that it has to be like the favorite, but like what's something that you wrote for this album that you're really proud of?
The No Love.
Okay.
No Love was tight. I think we came up with that hook together.
Cause to show love, girl, you gotta know love. Where we both from, you know there ain't no love. And to show love.
With Wavy had
Shout out to Wavy
through,
Baby.
Yeah, Wavy Baby. She had came through and we were just working on that. And it's funny because that was a beat that I had heard previously, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. And then I was like, I'm gonna play it in this session, and we came up with that. And I kind of like the message of that song too. It's like, to know love, you gotta kind of know love.
Yeah, like to show love, you gotta know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that makes a lot of
It's
sense.
just like, and it's, I would say the same thing. Full agreement. That's probably my favorite. Like, that's something that I would be like, send to my dad and be like, hey, I made this. Like, everything in it I could vouch for. Like this is some. And I'm not ashamed of anything I made or anything like that. I don't care what he hears, but like that one, I could be like, hey, I could show it to anybody and be like, you want to check me out? Like, check this song out. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like real. Like everybody experienced love in one way, shape or form throughout their whole life. Like that's something that everybody can relate to. So.
Speaking of lyrics and like maybe your family hearing it, I mean a lot of your lyrics are about like relationships or intimacy. And when you're family does, so there's like a line, something about like I'm in your guts like I'm digging for change in the couch or something like that. How's it go?
It goes I got the kind of vacation. Some places they just trying to get up. You think I'm looking for some change the way I'm digging in them guts?
Yeah,
because I'm really in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Does that ever become awkward or uncomfortable for you, knowing like, hey, my family is gonna hear this, or?
No, because one, like for me, I'm gonna be 30 at the end of the year. It's like I really don't care if they know I'm a grown ass man doing grown ass shit, so like it's gonna happen. But honestly, a lot of them don't really say anything about the music most times, anyways, which is cool. Like I made my peace with that, so I'm not really too worried about it. But if they play it, like I'll vibe with it. Fuck it, like I made it. But, like it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to hear certain things in front of my mom and stuff. But if it played, I'm gonna keep it cool.
Yeah.
Keep it player.
It's funny because we got a song on there called Long Way, and my mom actually came up to me. She was like, I really like this song. She was like, some of the things you were saying, but I like this song. And I was like, oh. That kind of like caught me by surprise.
Long way.
But-
How's the chorus go?
I'm not about to sing that song, but yeah. So it's weird because I was kind of like him too. I was never like super big on showing my like family everything. But they've always like been trying to listen to my stuff, and so it's a little awkward, but it's cool at the end of the day. It's like I'm finally being acknowledged as an adult by my mom, so that's what's up. It
Yeah.
took me 31 years.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the reality of it, right? Like, I mean, it's so common for people to say like, hey, I want some grandkids, but it's like, well, like there's something that has to happen for those things, and that's part of the human experience, and art is about expressing the human experience, right?
Exactly.
So it's not all that wild. I always think it's crazy when it's the opposite. You usually see it with like, it just like massage, like when a person's like, yeah, when my daughter is a certain age, like I'm gonna answer the door with a gun or whatever to intimidate. It's like, okay, like that's
That's some old head shit. That's not a player.
Yeah, it's just like denying that your family members are also a human being, right? So the way you describe it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
When it comes to this platform is about community collaboration, and one of the reasons you're here is because Autumn Leaf randomly mentioned you when I said, hey, who are some artists that you appreciate or inspire you that are local? And so with that in mind, I wanted to ask you all the same questions. So who are some sort of local Phoenix artists that either you're a fan of, they inspire you, or that you appreciate?
Wavy Baby.
Pull up on the op, make them drop while this baby mama watch. She say stop, she get dropped.
100%. She sets the example for having like discipline and being productive and being constantly a force on social media.
Yeah.
And then music's fire, obviously. Every time we get a verse from her, she kills it. But yeah, I think she really inspires me in the aspect of like showing me what I should be doing when it comes to the social media game. So like she's on point for sure, and she's cool as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, we have the homies, BZ.
Keep me on my toes every step I've taken. Real calm shoulder, I lack patience. The perfect match, so baby, all I'm saying, come and take this walk.
Nebula, Red Eye.
Red is the game, yo, I'm off that lead shit. Just keep it simple, nigga, ain't no need for the cool whip.
Jocelyn don't got too much music. We be telling her to drop, but she don't got.
She'll drop.
She will soon. But like artists that I've kind of stumbled upon, like Spiritual, I said him last time.
The ninth live, a ninth wonder, I'm a 90s baby. It's hard to skate if you really hadn't been.
He has this song, Audio Track 3, I think is what it's called, something like that. That song's fire. Jade, she just dropped a project.
And now the homies asking why Jay, you never come around. I tell them elevators of stuff, I'm never coming down.
I forget what it's called, but that shit's fire too. Hefe and Lord, what is it, Lord Raw?
Lord Raw and Gorgeous Hefe,
Yeah.
I sent from my environment. Gotta let these niggas know time and time again. Woke up, chose violence. No, I'm not a nihilist.
Yeah, they're fired. Like,
Hello Boys, yep.
what they have, shit on them Saturdays. Like,
That's
they stay dropping. That's what, like, I see them, I'm like, damn, I really need to, I need to drop some shit. Like, they're fired. So, like, I've come across a lot of, like, dope people.
I would say Zeke.
I'll put my life in these lines, I put my pride to the side. Can't put a price on these rhymes, can't look me twice in my eye.
Zeke too, yeah. Zeke
formerly known as Jiggy, but Zeke, I think in terms of everything, he pushes the envelope in every aspect, because he produces, he engineers, he raps, he sings, he plays
probably
actual
one of the
instruments
most talented, like,
I've ever even met, like he's cold. Like, I appreciate him for real. And I was like, he's one of the first like Arizona artists outside of Vaughn that I was like a real fan of. Like, I want to keep hearing your stuff. Like, I want it all, like a real fan.
Yeah.
So shout out to Zeke.
Is there any more extra pressure to singing than rapping? Because I've heard multiple rappers where I'm watching a performance and they sing a part and they'll like preface like, "Just so y'all know, I'm not a singer, so don't take this seriously." You know what I mean? But like I never hear people say that when they're rapping, and I also like.
That's so true. I'm not a rapper.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
When it comes to singing, like, there are people that will, because I don't have an ear for it. I grew up, before I fell in love with hip hop, I was listening to like rock music, like metal and grunge and punk music, where there is no like, this is good singing or this is bad. It's just singing.
Yeah.
But like in R&B, I hear people be very, they're very critical. Like, oh, this is off key, or this is this or that. And so I just wanted to ask you, like, when it comes to, rapping versus singing, is it different as far as like the pressure, as far as what it sounds like?
I think there might be a little bit more pressure on hitting notes compared to spitting bars or playing with words in a sense.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's really all in your head. It's what you it's what you make it. Like, if you want to be nervous about it, you be nervous about it. But you did mention that last time, saying I'm not a singer, just you, and it's so true. And like, I was like, I took that and I'm like, you know what, next time I do something, I'm not gonna say some shit like that. I'm just gonna do it, and they're just gonna have to digest it for what it is. And they'd be like, damn, this motherfucker can't sing. Then I can't sing, but I sang my heart out.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a little bit more pressure, just because with this genre, it's like they are super critical of how you sound, so you don't want to go up there and sound like just crazy, super pitchy or whatever. I think like for me, it's more like in the studio where I'm like, yeah, hey guys, like don't expect me to do too much. But performing wise, I try not to, I try to keep the veil up,
Yeah.
But I be nervous.
Yeah, because then it's almost like a little surprise to them, because we just come out rapping and then we start hitting a little bit of notes and stuff like that. And then if you preface it by saying, hey, just so you know I'm not a singer, then they're like, oh, he's about to sing. Yeah. It kind of just takes away from it. It's like, oh, like instead of like just hearing them sing,
yeah,
it's like, oh, that's tight.
We have a song called Mo Minds, Yo Mind, and we used to perform that live a lot. And he just starts off the verse rapping real chill. And then I come in singing, and it's always cool to see people's reactions.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what the fuck?
They're like, damn.
But if I was like, hey, you guys, I'm about to sing right now, then it's like, kills the entire moment. So,
yeah. It's interesting because, like, as a fan, it almost, like, not exposes, but, like, I won't, like, listen. Because when someone says that, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll pay attention to how they sing because they said they can't.
Yeah,
but if they don't, then I don't pay attention to it at all.
Yeah, you wasn't even gonna do nothing.
It's like if someone like cooks a dish or whatever, like I think I oversalted this, and I'm gonna eat it. I'm like, this is kind of salty. Well, maybe I wouldn't.
Maybe you wouldn't have noticed.
Paid attention at all.
You kind of snitch on yourself.
Yeah, so I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
So y'all have been making music for is it 10 years?
10+ years. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have, and there is no cookie cutter advice that applies to everyone, but that said, as two people that have been making music for over a decade now, what advice would you give artists that are working together, like as some sort of duo, and they're just starting that journey? Because it seems more the exception than the norm for two people to continue to create for over a decade.
That's true.
Just based on how human beings are. So,
it's good to be competitive to grow, but they're not your competition. Like, it's all love, create a good foundation of trust and just friendship or brotherhood or wherever you're at, and just keep that going. Make sure you cater to those as well. I don't just see Vaughn as an artist. I don't see him as 90sitcom. I see him as Vaughn, as my brother. So like, it's easy to make music with somebody you love and you care about and you trust. So like, those are like concrete, like, and all the extra shit will come, but it's good to be competitive, but they are not your competition. Like, you need to solve that insecurity if that's how you feel. You need to be more confident in yourself, because I dealt with that for a long time, and I had to get over that and praise Vaughn for when he's getting praise and I'm not getting any. But that's both of us. If he wins, I win. If I win, he wins. It's all up.
I wanted to hear your answer, but you just said on something that's very interesting to me. Have you ever had that situation where someone like is critical of one or the other? And if so, how did you process that?
I'd be like, damn, what I do? Like, why am I getting all these shots and then Vaughn's getting hella praise? And it's just like, you gotta let that go and be like, damn, Vaughn got praised. That motherfucker's cold. He deserves it. That's it.
That's it. Full stop. Yeah.
That's it.
Facts. Yeah. I think it's the same thing. Like, it goes both ways. So I was talking to an artist one day, and they're like, yeah, I can tell this man Angelo really putting in that work. I'm like, yeah, what about me? But at the same time, like, he is putting in work. Like, he got a kid, he's busy, still comes in there and knocks out verses, and I can't be mad at my man for that. So, like he said, when I win, he wins. When he wins, I win. So, I think that's like the mentality you have to have if you're gonna be in that type of setup.
Yeah. No, I really love what you said. So like, in my personal life, I'm very big into specific mindfulness practices, and in my practice, like, there's a concept of not adding to, right? And so like, you can observe, and then you just observe, right? You don't need to add your opinion, because what happens is like, when you add an opinion, that's when you start is like, why did they compliment him and not me? What's wrong with me? And then you start to ask these questions, and then you're literally holding and attaching to that and creating some sort of negative energy. So like, what you said is another thing that's drilled into me in a whole different context in my life, in my Zen practice. But did you learn that over time, or did like you read that somewhere, or it just came naturally, or what?
I think it just came naturally. It's like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Like him getting compliments and me not, like, that's not a threat, you know? Like, it's really not a threat. Like, if anything, if they go, hey Vaughn, you just rap that shit was hard. You just spit bars, you just sang or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, he did. That shit is hard, huh? Yeah, I got to hear that first. Like, that shit's cold. You just add on, like, it's just love. Like, if you just try, you just gotta humble yourself down. It's not always about you. It's about, you know, decompressing your ego and just kind of leaving it out. It's ego's always gonna be there, pride's always gonna be there, but it's just trying to battle through it and learning, like I said, like, you know, he's not my competition. Like, he's my brother. So, like,
Yeah.
if he's getting love, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think circling back like to the original question, it's like if you want to be in a group, you gotta have that humility. Like even me, like even if I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I should just let me just ditch Angelo and be like, you know. But then I'd be like, you know, there are verses where I feel like Angelo did better than me. I'd say that to people. I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Like, yeah, it might be technically a little bit better, but Angelo has his own unique style that he brings to the group. And so it's like, I wouldn't be as good as I am without Angelo at the same time. So it's like, he's pushing me. And now we're at that level where it's like,
Yeah.
Either or. On any given day, it's like, damn, he's really going off. Damn, he's really going off. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our group. It's like, it's not just one person carrying it at all. Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, listening to you guys, like you just compliment each other so well. And you're kind of like, so there's two ends of the spectrums for me for duos. There's these two artists sound very similar. And yeah, you could tell they have a different voice, but it's very similar. Then there's like, oh, they're night and day. Y'all are sort of like somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. Like that. Because it's not like night and day, but it's not, you definitely don't sound the same as well.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I haven't asked this question before. I literally just thought of it like a minute ago. But I'm gonna start asking artists this and probably create like a clip, like a compilation clip. So make sure your answer is really good for this compilation clip.
I got you.
I watched an interview with, you guys know Rick Rubin?
Yeah.
Okay. I watched he wrote an amazing book called The Creative Act, and he, you know, was doing like a book tour or interview promoting it. And he said something like, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, when I make something, my success criteria is if I'm ready to show someone else, it's successful. Because I'm happy enough with it to show someone else. That said, I want to ask both of you, what is your success criteria for music? Because I think that is not defined by many artists, and many artists will get upset by results that they don't really know what they expected. They just feel sort of let down. So one artist could expect certain numbers and views. Another artist could expect, you know, qualitative, you know, feedback. What is your success criteria?
My success criteria, aside from me enjoying it, would be I gotta get the Vaughn stamp of approval.
Okay.
Then I know it's good. If Vaughn stamps it, then we're good. Then I'm confident. I'm like, okay, I'm extra confident. I'm like, okay, we're straight.
Okay.
And then anything after that is cool. Like, and then to further answer the question, I would say, like, you know, people just like nodding their head, or like you could see they're engaged and they might have a little grin on their face. I like that. I like getting people with like I'll say shit like, you know, digging in your guts like I'm looking for change, and then people like just laugh or be like, this motherfucker's wild, because then that tells me that they're listening. I got a reaction out of them, because they could just listen like this the whole time, you know, like, you know. But like I made them laugh, and that's tight. If I get a reaction out of you, I'm happy. I'm content. Like, okay, cool. I did what I needed to do, because I still love the song. Vaughn loves the song, so that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
But now you guys are reacting to it and having fun to it. Say less.
Okay.
I think for me, it's I really only care, I guess, opinion-wise, maybe his opinion for these songs, like, or for any song that I make, getting his stamp, and then really just executing what I intended to do. So kind of just like what he was saying, like what Rick Rubin was saying, it's just, oh, I made this is exactly how I wanted it to be, and it's done. And now, like, I can feel good about myself because that's exactly what I wanted to do. And that's kind of because the numbers are going to be the numbers. Like, we've been in this 10 years, and it's not like we've gone crazy with the numbers. And so, like, relying on that to feel successful would just ultimately hurt you and burn you out in the long run. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's to me it's wild as a fan because like views and numbers actually be like they don't mean anything for the quality of it, right? Like there's so many artists I come across, I'm like, I can't believe this YouTube video has like 120 views because I love this so much. It's like literally just a matter like sometimes awareness and then attention span. Because like when we're all scrolling through social feeds, like we just don't look at everything. So like I think people will take it as like, oh, like I posted this and no one cares. It's like maybe someone was watching Netflix as they were just scrolling and they just scroll. You know what I mean? It's
so true. They didn't even hear it. They didn't see it. Like it really is not. That's a good point.
But I feel like how artists and just humans in general, even out of art, it's almost like when someone posts something or shares something, in their mind they're like, hey, look at this thing. What do you think? And then like no reactions or whatever. It's like the equivalent of someone just like ignoring them to their face. But it's like, no, like they didn't see you pick up this thing and show it to you at all. You know what I mean? Have you kind of seen a similar thing as far as like artists maybe taking things the wrong way like that, or does it not really sort of come up?
I think yeah, people getting hurt about it. Yeah, we see it all the time. Like they're disappointed or they take it personal. But that's a good point. That's a really good point. They didn't see you pick the thing up, bro. Like, do it again. Yeah. And then do it again. And then do it again. They'll see it eventually. And if you're confident in your product, its quality, when they see it, they're going to like it.
Yeah. I noticed that more so from people who quit. Like, people who I've seen who are doing it. And then they're like, hey, I just dropped this. Check it out. Nobody really checks it out. And then they're like, damn, like they'll be posting angry posts on, like, Facebook and Twitter. And then the next thing you know, they don't do it anymore. So it's like you probably weren't doing it for the right reasons, if that's all it took. But I mean, it's a hard thing to get over. It's definitely not something easy. Like you want people to go crazy over something that you make. It just doesn't always happen like that.
Yeah, to me it's like very interesting because it's like I see both perspectives. Like on one hand, not everyone likes everything. Like I'm sure there are artists that like have sold millions, or that YouTube, it's just not for you. You don't like it, but it's 100%. Not a representation. It doesn't take anything away from them. But on the other end, it's like self-expression is very personal. So for someone not to like it, it's almost like you have your identity and your self-expression. And for many people, these things are very much intertwined. So it's like you reject my self-expression, it feels like you're rejecting me as a person. Yeah. Do you separate your artistic? Because I know it's part of you, but in a way, it's also doesn't define you. So do you separate your artistic expression from your identity in any way, or?
I think the way I go about it is like kind of like what you said. Like I walk out the door every day knowing that there's gonna be people that like me and people that hate me. So my music's the same way. There's gonna be people that like it, people that hate it, people that don't even know it exists, and people that don't care for it, and people that love it can't wait. Not everybody's gonna love my stuff, so I take reassurance in that. It's like, okay, it's cool, it's whatever, let it go. It's about external validation and internal validation. So like if you got that unlocked, then the external is just extra. It's just a bonus, you know. And it's hard. It's still a battle. Like we just, I just had dealing with some of them. Like, dang, we didn't get these views. I thought this was gonna do that, blah blah. But it's like, well, I'm still proud of what I did, and I'm still satisfied. So like, that's really all that matters. Juan and I always used to say, our dream isn't to get famous. Our dream is just to make music that we love.
Yeah.
So as long as we keep doing that, obviously, being financially stable off of music alone is the true goal as a responsible adult. But like the fact that we can always make music, that is a blessing, and that's what really matters.
Yeah.
Because it is self-expression.
Yeah, I think that is tough for people. I mean, it gets tough for me at times, but I saw some NBA player talking about how after they retired, it's like they didn't know what to do with themselves because their whole identity was just being a basketball player.
Yep.
And it's like that's kind of scary in this sense. So for me, I think just being a regular human being and having so many other interests to jump into, it's like I'm not just a rap artist. It's like I'm Vaughn. I got all these other things that I'm into, and so kind of leaning on that. Like I don't even really see myself as like a rap artist. I just make music, and so that's one of my things.
Okay. Last question before we plug all your socials and stuff like that. So making music for over a decade now, how do you see the sort of, Arizona community like different or not different? Like, do you think things as far as people supporting each other looks better than it was 10 years ago? Is it about the same? Is it worse?
I think it's getting a lot better, but I think there's a lot of love, but it's very channeled. There's a lot of pockets.
Okay.
So if you're in a pocket, there's a lot of love, but you got to find the pockets. And
Yeah.
I just want a way for us to, we're Arizona, and we can start developing a sound together. But obviously ego comes into play, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But it definitely has changed, because I feel like back in the day when we were coming up, that's when Futuristic was popping off. And so he was doing shows like Prove It and stuff like that, which is cool. It was giving us a real opportunity to prove ourselves. And we had somebody from Arizona really so that was cool. But I think nowadays we don't, to my knowledge, really not nobody that's popping off from Arizona. So like, it's really a void that we can fill, that I want to fill, And so I think the community has been pretty well to me, but in pockets.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better. I almost forgot about the Futuristic thing. I think, I know people got a lot of opinions about Futuristic, but I think what he was doing with the Prove It is like a perfect example of trying to build like a community out here. Like, he was the biggest artist, and he would literally just have artists sign up and perform. And I think that would be something cool to bring back. But other things like this podcast, like your page, seeing like Juno and the Charisma Collective, and Ronnie Dijon with Locals Only, like really artists trying to give back to the scene. I feel like it's in a really good place. We just don't have that big, figure from AZ doing that right now, putting on. But, people like you bringing attention to underground artists that people don't really care about, like the average general public. They just hear whoever's on the radio and they're like, okay, he must be cool. But everybody else, they're like, he's such and such making a mixtape at his friend's house. So it's
a stigma.
Yeah, it's like a little stigma. But I think things are trending in a better direction, because a lot of people are getting their flowers. Like, I've discovered a lot of artists just off of those pages I mentioned, those showcases, your page, and I think it's cool. I think we're trending in a good direction.
Who? I mean, this is just a random last minute question, but like, who do you think? This is your personal opinion. Like, who is the top quote unquote artist from AZ, as far as like, if you go outside of Arizona, like who would people know?
I know people know Injury Reserve.
Okay.
I know people know, but then that's just people that I know. So I'm like,
I was listening to Injury Reserve before I knew they were from Arizona. So I would agree with that for sure.
It's hard to say, but I would say, based on like social media, I would say Jalopy Bungus.
Say it again?
Jalopy Bungus.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that sounds very familiar.
Battle rap.
Yeah,
he was crazy.
He's crazy, and
I know I've heard that name. Okay.
Yeah, so I would say he's probably like at the forefront for the most part, especially with like TikTok. Like he blew up, off of talking about anime and music. So like, it's really cool. And then the battle rap scene, he's really like making his imprint, and I think that's really cool, because he's we met him, talked to him, and he's in Arizona. I think that's pretty cool.
But I just heard of Merkham's. I guess he did a freestyle on Sway, so I'm like, I guess that's him. So, but I'm like, damn, maybe I'm not as tapped in as I thought I was for some of these people.
Yeah. Well, that said, like, do you all feel any sort of way, like, because Merkham's is from New Jersey, but he's been in Arizona for a while. Some artists will like I'll see artists like, I'm from Arizona. I was like, it's like 1800. They don't necessarily say 1800s, but like, there's something you said like, no, I was born here versus like, no, I moved here when I was a kid, or like, does it matter to you?
I don't think it matters, because I'm from Northern California, and I came out here in 2008.
Okay.
And so like, I feel like I'm Arizonian now, and this is where I really like developed who I am.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'll rep Arizona for a little bit. I'll pop us off if that's what it takes. Like, I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad if somebody else, represented where I'm from and they're not from there. Hey, if they're that ill, then they're that ill. Like, you can't deny talent. And, if they're cool about it, then they show love and shit like that. That's tight.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not the 90s anymore.
Not territorial.
Because we're transplants. Like, he's from Cali, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I moved out here.
What part of Pennsylvania?
I was born in Philly,
Okay.
raised in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I spent 12 years in Pittsburgh, first 2 years of my life in Philly. And then I came out here when I was 14, and I'm 31 now. So it's like I spent most of my life in AZ. So it's like, yeah, I'm from AZ at this point. So I don't feel a way about it at all.
One more question, because you mentioned anime, and like we're y'all aren't just out of high school, but I'm a little older than you. When I was in high school, like if you were into anime, people made fun of you.
Oh yeah.
And there was like the like quote unquote, oh, he's the black kid that likes anime, type of whatever that is. Was it that case for you in your high school? Because it seems so like hip hop is so influenced now by anime, and it seems like very acceptable.
Yeah. For me, I didn't watch anime in high school, but I knew that stigma was there, 100%.
Okay.
I started watching anime like right before COVID, so and I'm like, damn, this shit's fire. If you like great storytelling, watch anime.
Yeah.
Like it don't matter what it looks like, it's just a great story. They're so in depth. Like there's so many good animes.
Yeah, it's like for me, I feel like it all depended on the person or like just the groups. Cause some people, when I'll talk about Yu Yu Hakusho, cause I used to like that, and Dragon Ball Z. So I was always into anime, but I never really had to deal with it in, I guess, in bulk or in like regularity. It's like for the most part, people were pretty chill. So it's tight to see now that like anime's way bigger now, way like more accepted throughout the culture. I mean, now you got some people like the OGs who are like, you guys don't really know about anime, but it's
now it's like a whole nother hate, for the anime purists. You're just hopping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what it is. So it's like I never really had to deal with it too much, thankfully.
I got you. Okay. Well, it was great chatting with y'all. Part 2. For anyone that's not currently following you, how do people find you? And if you want to plug, your personal page as well, but
you can find us at _90sitcom_ on Instagram, and 90sitcom everywhere, really. 90sitcom, just like that. Don't spell it out.
No space.
It's with a 9, not an 8, and so simple as that. My main socials on there, so you can find me if you want.
Okay.
But the music is what I need.
Yeah, we got the 90s, and then we got my music page is Vaughn De Los 90s.
So is your solo stuff you also will push through the 90s sitcom basically?
Yeah,
okay,
sometimes.
Okay,
I do both. Yeah, we do that. So that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Anything else that I didn't ask that you want to mention or plug? By the way, I'm gonna drop this by this next weekend, so it will be pretty nice.
Oh, nice.
Check out our new album, Hotline 90. It's on all streaming platforms. It's gonna be on SoundCloud soon if you're a SoundCloud listener. And just hit us up. I mean, you can follow us on Instagram. That's where we're most active. And just be on the lookout, because next year is going to be a good year for us, because we're going to be productive, like we were just talking about. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, so you can get a lot of music from us. And if you want to just be friends with us, hit us up.
Yeah, and Hotline 90, there's more to come with that too. It's not over. We still got some more things to drop related to that. So I'd say stay tuned.
All right, 90s sitcom. Thanks for coming up again, and great chatting with you.
Thanks for having us.